Hi, do you know what gaper stare is? Where when you're driving and there's an accident and everybody in front of you is slowing down and you get up to the accident and you realize it's on the other side of the road and that there was absolutely no reason whatsoever that traffic was stopped on your side of the road other than that everybody was staring obsessively to see what was going on. First and foremost, gaper staring causes accidents. But a client just reflected to me that she said, I remember, I gave her a different metaphor, which is what I'm going to give you in a second. But she said, I remember when you said, if you stare at somebody else's accident, then it slows you down too. And that's a great metaphor for her in her life because she's a, kind of, um, I would say the matriarch of her system in that she is the designated adult in her very dysfunctional family system. And I wouldn't say toxic family system, but they are wildly dysfunctional. And they need a responsible adult, and she has been it. So um, when she reflected to me that I said this, and I'm putting these two metaphors together, because what I said to her was that right now, in this impasse in her life, she is the steerer of the ship because right now she has a clear destination. And it's reminding me of being a single mom, right? Where it's like, this is why mothers shouldn't be single mothers because you're supposed to steer the ship. You're supposed to put out holes. You're supposed to go coddle the kids in the back room. You're supposed to be doing all of these things while working and checking the weather to see if there's a storm, whatever these things are. You're supposed to be able to leave the steering wheel of that ship. And unless you have a community or partnership to say, okay, I'm going to either take over right now and we're still going to get there, or you have a cushy enough weather purview to just put an anchor in and go to the back of the ship and coddle your kids and relax and, be a functional person, you need support to do that. So when we have a destination, when we know, okay, well, we're navigating something here, we know where we want to go to. And in this case, it might be I want my family system to function, and the only way that I can do that is to function on behalf of everybody right now to get them into functional positions. So when I'm thinking of this metaphor of like, you can't leave the steering wheel right now. Like, we know that your system is going to be reactive. I gave this metaphor. I was like, I can see this person, crying from the back room, like, come help me with this. And this person chucking beer over the balcony and the dog biting your ankles. And you're like, oh, what am I supposed to attend to? Because that's what my demographic is like. I'm distracted by all of it. And how do I like maintain all of it and sustain all of it and get to all of it? And then we leave the steering wheel, which is like gaper stare, right? And we veer off of navigating to the destination that's actually going to keep everybody safe and functional, ideally, if we have an idea of where we're going. So the second that we are called to by distraction to somebody else's crisis, when we are navigating and have to be the functional person, and this is what it is like being a single mom, okay? It is unsustainable. And the expectation, it's like, oh my God, no wonder I failed. I was the only person who did anything, right? And I'm not saying I failed, but like, there's no way that a single mom can get you to the destination, meet your emotional needs, do the laundry, ask about your day, take you to the appointment on time while they're steering a ship to go like, oh my God, I don't even know if I can pay the mortgage this month, right? So without somebody else to take over that steering wheel, you ultimately, which is sad reality for a lot of households today, you can't leave unless there's an honest crisis. Somebody flew over the ship, somebody's, and in her case, the people I'm suggesting are adults. So, and what I was suggesting is, this is a system that is solid in the way that it is. Now that you've kind of chosen to be a self-agent person and take the steering wheel, there's going to be emotional reactivity, even though everybody in the system wants decisions made. There's going to be emotional reactivity based on the fact that you're being the adult. And ultimately, probably even these adults are going to maybe act like kids. And that's going to be really distracting. And you're going to think, oh my God, I have to attend to their crisis or their emotional need. And really, the system is just going to shift. It's going to change. And that always feels iffy. And if she goes, okay, I'm going to continue to let their emotional reactivity steer my ship ultimately, or stop me from going in the direction, you're not going to get there. So I just want to bring you this metaphor today of like, if you're, being settled in life is awesome. Being maybe out on a ship, 100 feet from shore and anchored and chilling and be able to walk in, swim in if you had to an island, that would be great. But ultimately, she's in a transition period. And when we're in a transition period, when we're on the move, even that's why I thought of when she said the gaper stare thing, it made so much sense, because it's like, when I'm on the move, I have a destination, I know where I'm going, but still the human inclination is to forget about where I'm going and to look at somebody else's crash. That ultimately, in a gaper stare situation, I'm not equipped to handle. And it's going to derail me from getting to where I'm supposed to go. So when we know where we want to go, and we know that we're probably, in this case, the only functional adult who's going to do it, whether you're a single mom or the head of a family, even though you're the child in the family, we can't, and we also can't feel guilt about this. Like, if my job is to take my children to safety, I have to understand I am sacrificing some of their other needs in the very, like, physical safety. I mean, like, I've had times when I had to get them into physical safety. And in those moments, I could not attend to their emotional safety, simply because one had to take precedence so I could get to the other, right? So in these moments when we're like, oh my God, I know where I'm going to go, and I'm going to get us to an island that's going to make us safe. But if you're constantly derailed by thinking, I'm going to feel so guilty because she doesn't like the way I'm driving, this person's throwing things off, I don't know what's going on, the storm's coming, not sure when it's coming, there's sharks in the water and he's threatening to jump off, whatever it is, when we are consumed by that distraction, we're not going to end up getting to where we need to go to keep everybody safe. And then ultimately, ideally, there will be on land enough, or at least anchored enough, to attend to the emotional aspects of being safe. So I think, and another thing, like what we do as a person who has grand mal seizures, like, I wake up, and in polyvagal theory, I mean, my seizures are vagally induced. When I wake up from a seizure, I wake up first smelling urine because I have pissed myself. Second, realizing I can't open my eyes. Third, opening in my eyes and usually having people staring in my face and having to orient and totally forgetting that, like, I just had a seizure. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's going on, right? So I have to orient. But the thing about my seizures is I already shake it out. So I have convulsive grand mal seizures. And in polyvagal theory, the implication is if you're in a lot of danger, you will first and foremost orient and then shake out the stuck energy, right? So I think my body does the opposite of that, actually. And then I orient. Point is, when you have a direction to go in and you know that you're the only person to get you there and to get your system there, and you feel obligated to be the matriarch in that way, oftentimes it's very easy, especially when we have toddlers or parents that act like toddlers, to orient around their orientation, which is very disorganized. And if you catch a glimpse of, okay, I finally know where I'm going to go after all this chaos and all these years of trying to chase you around to figure out where I'm supposed to go on the boat. Okay, now I know where I'm going to take the boat. When you have that motivation and that nudge, I just caution you to allow yourself to keep your orientation toward your own navigation system, where you know that you need to go to get everybody to safety, where you want to go. And any crisis that they're having about it, because even if they want to go, they're going to throw temper tantrums about like not being in control or you're not doing it right or whatever, even if they want to go there, there's going to be resistance because there's change. We cannot run to the back of the boat and leave the steering wheel unattended simply because somebody else is, acting like they need something that isn't necessarily up to us as adults to do for them. If they're adults, especially if they're not your spouse, but they're requiring you to soothe their tantrums and meet their emotional needs, steer clear, keep your hands on the steering wheel, and look to where you want to go, not where that person's trying to get you to go, which is pretty much keep you stuck and go nowhere if you keep attending to the crisis in the back of the boat. So I hope this makes sense. Staring at somebody else's crisis slows you down and it causes accidents. If you know where you're going to go, there will be backlash in a system. Whether it's you have kids or parents, you don't like it or whatever, or there will be needs that you will not be able to meet simply based on knowing what comes first, and that is physical safety for whatever that is for you. And expect that and know that, like, okay, the only thing that you can do is orient in the direction of your own navigation system and stay focused on the destination and do your damnedest to remember that there's no one else steering, nobody else capable at the front of the boat. And you don't have to hate them for it. Just don't turn around because they need something from you that they don't really need. Don't take your eyes off of the water until you get to where you want to go. Because in a structure like that or a system like that, you will inevitably be called to attention in a way that's going to derail the mission. And that's natural. You don't have to hate the order of things in that way. Just keep your eye on the prize and realize every time that you get called from the back, it's a distraction that kept the system floating and going nowhere, the same that it has, that got you to the place where you finally said, you know what? Nobody else is capable, so I'm steering this shit, right? All right, I hope that makes sense for you. Bye.